You are watching Political Point Magazine. Where right is right and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. Well, it looks like Hillary reboots while Jeb Bush enters the 2016 presidential race. NAACP president pretends to be black. Oh, this is interesting. And a prison break in New York leaves a wild manhunt off for two dangerous killers who broke out of a maximum security prison in New York, Shawshank Redemption way. And the Democrats are not looking out for you. We will tell you about that. Okay, as everything comes in. Take it to the phones and talk to you, the viewers. As everything comes into that play. All right, welcome everyone. I am your humble host, William Mitro. Alright, well, now, it is going to be an interesting show tonight. Okay, we got lots to talk about. Okay, but first up on the agenda here. Alright, now, with everything that has been going on here, we have now two more, well, semi. Now, we all know that Hillary already announced, months ago, okay, but she felt now that she needed to reboot her campaign because she's having problems with the scandal and everything. So she seems to think that she can get a fresh start, but with everything that has been going on, it's hard. It's really hard for her to come back. All right, because this is just it's not her time. All right, now she has she is a candidate. Hillary is a candidate that is fraught with scandals. All right, and we all know this because of the email scandals, Benghazi. She screwed up everything. Okay, everything under this president is the making of Hillary's crafting. All right, and it's not working out the way it's supposed to be. All right, but Hillary Clinton. Now I'm gonna put a good majority of this show on in my Political Point magazine's political point of vision. All right, because tonight I really want people to see everything that has been going on here. All right, so first off, we start off with our top story. Now, Hillary had a reboot, right? And she hasn't been answering questions from the press, which is quite shocking, to say the least. And she isn't coming clean on her server and everything. In fact, okay, we find out now that you know, you remember when she said that she used one email device, or one device. Well, it now turns out that she actually used two devices. All right, but we're gonna get into the campaign now. Whereas we now have now Hillary comes in and she rebooted her campaign with a rally in Roosevelt Park. Okay, now, and which is quite unusual because we know that she already announced her candidacy back a couple months ago. All right, now, and you know, and ever since she announced, she has been avoiding the press because she has been fraught with scandals, and she is very, very dangerous. All right, and so I'm going to show you some of her rallying campaign.
Thank you so very, very much. It is wonderful to be here with all of you, to be in New York with my family, with so many friends, including so many New Yorkers who gave me the honor of serving them in the Senate for 8 years. To be right across the water from the headquarters of the United Nations, where I represented our country many times. To be here in this beautiful park, dedicated to Franklin Roosevelt's enduring vision of America, the nation we want to be, and in a place with absolutely no ceilings. You know, President Roosevelt's four freedoms are a testament to our nation's unmatched aspirations and a reminder of our unfinished work at home and abroad. His legacy lifted up a nation and inspired presidents who followed. One is the man I served as Secretary of State, Barack Obama.
Ooh.
And another is my husband, Bill Clinton.
Boo, boo.
Two Democrats, guided by, that will make him so happy. They were and are two Democrats, guided by the fundamental American belief that real and lasting prosperity must be built by all and shared by all. President Roosevelt called on everyone to do his or her part, and every American answered. He said, "There's no mystery about what it takes to build a strong and prosperous America. Equality of opportunity, jobs for those who can work, security for those who need it, the ending of special privilege for the few, the preservation of civil liberties for all, a wider and constantly rising standard of living." That still sounds good to me. It's America's basic bargain. If you do your part, you ought to be able to get ahead. And when everybody does their part, America gets ahead too. That bargain inspired generations of families, including my own. It's what kept my grandfather going to work in the same Scranton lace mill every day for 50 years. It's what led my father to believe that if he scrimped and saved, his small business printing drapery fabric in Chicago could provide with a middle-class life, and it did. When President Clinton honored the bargain, we had the longest peacetime expansion in history, a balanced budget, and for the first time in decades, we all grew together, with the bottom 20% of workers increasing their incomes by the same percentage as the top 5%.
She won't tell you that that was all done, but while the Republicans controlled Congress. Those were Republican policies that helped Clinton succeed, not Clinton.
When President Obama honored the bargain, we pulled back from the brink of depression, saved the auto industry, provided...
You did not save the auto industry. Detroit went bankrupt. Hello.
care to 16 million working people.
No, that's not true either. The healthcare system is not working. Obamacare is probably on the brink of being shut down by the Supreme Court because of the language in the law.
And replaced the jobs we lost faster than the historical average after a financial crash.
That's not true at all either, Mrs. Clinton, because Obama's economy is shrinking. All right, the middle class is being squeezed under Obama, and the income gap, the gap between the rich and the poor increased dramatically under Obama. All right, the unemployment rate, if you count the underemployed and the people that have just given up and not participating in the workforce, is close to 20% under Obama. More people are living in poverty under Obama, and the economy is growing at the slowest rate in history under Obama.
But it's not 1941 or 1993 or even 2009. We face new challenges in our economy and our democracy. We're still working our way back from a crisis that happened because time-tested values were replaced by false promises. Instead of an economy built by every American, for every American, we were told that if we let those at the top pay lower taxes and bend the rules, their success would trickle down to everyone else.
No, that's not true, Mrs. Clinton. All right. Now, Hillary just lied to you right there. All right. Now, no, the tax cuts that the Bush administration put into play were for everybody across the board. All right. Okay. It's not called trickle-down economics. It's what you liberals call supply-side economics. All right. Tax cuts across the board. Reagan changed the tax code and made it easier for everybody. President Bush cut taxes and cut taxes across the board and grew the economy. All right? You know, see, what the Democrats won't tell you is that it was the Democrats that crashed the economy back in 2008. All right? Now, here's what happened. Okay. The backstory is, okay, for 7 out of 8 years under George W. Bush, we had a really high economy. All right. Then, in the midterm elections of 2006, the Democrats took control of Congress. Okay, so from 2007 on up to 2011, the Democrats controlled both houses of Congress. And the Democrats, while they were in control of Congress from 2007 on, they spent a good majority of their time blocking pro-growth policies that came from the Bush administration. And they ran the subprime mortgage scandal that busted the housing bubble in 2008. And that led to the economic meltdown. It was the Democrats in Congress that crashed the economy, not Bush or the Republicans. Okay? The Democrats ran the economy down into the ground because they wanted Bush to fail. All right? And the top number 2 guy involved in that was Senator Barack Obama. Barack Obama never should have been elected to begin with. And we should not elect Hillary as our president either, because Hillary was involved with the current economy that is contracting today. All right.
What happened? Well, instead of a balanced budget with surpluses that could have eventually paid off our national debt, the Republicans twice cut taxes for the wealthiest, borrowed money from other countries to pay for 2 wars, and family incomes dropped.
That's not true at all. All right. No, the Republicans cut taxes across the board for everybody. All right. And we were fighting the war on terrorism, and they kept us safe. The Republicans kept us safe from terrorism. All right. Unlike the Barack Obama policies, which have allowed terrorism to go rampant. And Hillary is just out of touch. Out of touch.
You see corporations making record profits with CEOs making record pay, but your paychecks have barely budged. While many of you are working multiple jobs to make ends meet, you see the top 25 hedge fund managers making more than all of America's kindergarten teachers combined, and often paying a lower tax rate.
Oh, she won't mention that the fact that she's friends with the hedge fund managers and CEOs. She didn't tell you that, right? Remember MoveOn.org? Yep.
So, you have to wonder, when does my hard work pay off? When does my family get ahead? When? Here on Roosevelt Island, I believe we have a continuing rendezvous with destiny. Each American and the country we cherish. I'm running to make our economy work for you and for every American, for the successful and the struggling, for the innovators and inventors, for those breaking barriers in technology and discovering cures for diseases, for the factory workers and food servers who stand on their feet all day, for the nurses who work the night shift, for the truckers who drive for hours and the farmers who feed us, for the veterans who served our country, for the small business owners who took a risk, for everyone who's ever been knocked down but refused to be knocked out.
I don't buy it. Not one bit. You know, Hillary is not the one that you want for president. Okay? She was a failure as Secretary of State, and as senator, she didn't do jack scrap for New York, and she didn't even pass anything. There's nothing that has her name on it that she passed in the Senate that benefited New York. She wasn't even supposed to be in New York. She's originally from Chicago, which is Obama country. Yep. And and when she talks about her past, she won't tell you what she did when she worked at the Rose Law Firm in Arkansas. No. Remember ADFA? The Arkansas Development Finance Authority? Which was a money laundering of cocaine through Mena, Arkansas? Yep. And the Clintons hid that from the American people because they blew up the ADFA building with their good friend Vince Foster inside. Oh, but they won't tell you that. No. Plus, you know, we all know that about the recent scandals on Hillary, which she has not answered for. She just keeps on avoiding the press and stuff. But let me move on now. Okay, let me move on to the better speech here, which is Jeb Bush. All right, so Jeb Bush now has announced, and you know, I think the reason why Hillary did her reboot, which yesterday, which Hillary did her reboot yesterday to upstage Jeb Bush. Okay, so now we have a Clinton and a Bush. Jeb Bush finally announces his candidacy. All right, and so here is Jeb Bush.
Thank you all. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mom, can you ask him to sit down, please? Thank you all very much. You know, I always feel welcome at Miami-Dade College. This is a place that welcomes everyone with their hearts set on the future. A place where hope leads to achievement and striving leads to success. For all of us, it is just the place to be in the campaign that begins today. We're 17 months from the time for choosing. The stakes for America's future are about as great as they come. Our prosperity and our security are in the balance. So is opportunity in this nation where every life matters and everyone has the right to rise. Already, the choice is taking shape. The party now in the White House is planning a no-suspense primary for a no-change election. To hold on to power, to slog on with the same agenda under another name. That's our opponent's call to action this time around. That's all they've got left. And you and I know that America deserves better. They've offered a progressive agenda that includes everything but progress. They're responsible for the slowest economic recovery ever, the biggest debt increases ever, a massive tax increase on the middle class, the relentless buildup of the regulatory state, and the swift, mindless drawdown of a military that was generations in the making. I, for one, am not eager to see what another 4 years would look like under that kind of leadership. The presidency should not be passed on from one liberal to the next. So here's what it comes down to. Our country's on a very bad course, and the question is, what are we going to do about it? The question for me is, what am I going to do about it? And I've decided I'm a candidate for President of the United States of America. We will take command of our future once again in this country. We will lift our sights again, make opportunity common again, get events in the world moving our way again. We will take Washington, the static capital of this dynamic country, then turn it out of the business of causing problems, and we'll get it back on the right side of free enterprise and freedom for all Americans. I know we can fix this because I've done it. Here in this great and diverse state that looks so much like America, so many challenges could be overcome if we could just get this economy growing at full strength. There's not a reason in the world why we cannot grow at a rate of 4% a year, and that will be my goal as president. .4% growth and the 19 million new jobs that comes with it. Economic growth that makes a difference for hardworking men and women who don't need a reminding that the economy's more than the stock market. Growth that lifts up the middle class, all the families who haven't had a raise in 15 years. Growth that makes a difference for everyone. It's possible. It can be done. We made Florida #1 in job creation and #1 in small business creation. 1.3 million new jobs, 4.4% growth, higher family income, 8 balanced budgets, and tax cuts 8 years in a row that saved our people and businesses $19 billion. All this plus a bond upgrade to AAA compared to the sorry downgrade of America's credit in these years. That was the commitment, and that is the record that turned this state around. I also use my veto power to protect our taxpayers from needless spending. And if I'm elected president, I'll show Congress how that's done. Leaders have to think big, and we've got a tax code filled with small-time thinking and self-interested politics. What swarms of lobbyists have done, we can undo with a vastly simpler system, clearing out special favors for the few, reducing rates for all. What the IRS, EPA, and the entire bureaucracy have done with overregulation, we can undo by act of Congress and order of the President. Federal regulation has gone far past the consent of the governed. It is time to start making rules for the rule makers. When we get serious about limited government, we can pursue the great and worthy goals that America has gone too long without. We can build our future on solvency instead of borrowed money. We can honor our commitments on the strength of fiscal integrity. With North American resources and American ingenuity, we can finally achieve energy security for this nation, and with presidential leadership, we can make it happen within 5 years. If we do all of this, if we do it relentlessly and if we do it right, we will make the United States of America an economic superpower like no other. We will also challenge the culture that has made lobbying the premier growth industry in our nation's capital. Look, the rest of the country struggles under big government while comfortable, complacent interest groups in Washington have been thriving on it. A self-serving attitude can take hold in any capital, just as it once did in Tallahassee. I was a governor who refused to accept that as the normal or right way of conducting the people's business. I will not accept it as the standard in Washington either. We don't need another president who merely holds the top spot among the pampered elites of Washington. We need a president willing to challenge and disrupt the whole culture in our nation's capital. And I will be that president. It's still a mystery to me why, in these violent times, the president a few months ago thought it relevant at a prayer breakfast to bring up the Crusades. Americans don't need lectures on the Middle Ages when we're dealing abroad with modern horrors committed by fanatics. From the beginning, our president and his foreign policy team have been so eager to be the history makers that they failed to be the peacemakers.
I would take it a step further and say that President Obama also failed as they were trying to be history makers. They failed. They were also trying to rewrite history, and it hasn't worked out that well.
With their phone-it-in foreign policy, the Obama, Clinton, Kerry team is leaving a legacy of crises uncontained, violence unopposed, enemies unnamed, friends undefended, and alliances unraveling. This supposedly risk-adverse administration is also running us straight in the direction of the greatest risk of all, military inferiority. It will go on automatically until a president steps in to rebuild our armed forces and take care of our troops and our veterans. And they have my word, I will do it. We keep dependable friends in this world by being dependable ourselves. I will rebuild our vital friendships, and that starts by standing with the brave democratic state of Israel. American-led alliances need rebuilding too, and better judgment is called for in relations far and near. 90 miles to our south, there's a talk of a state visit by our outgoing president. But we don't need a glorified tourist to go to Havana in support of a failed Cuba. American president to go to Havana in solidarity with a free Cuban people, and I'm ready to be that president. Just so that our friends know, the next president of the United States will pass meaningful immigration reform so that that will be solved, not by executive order. So back, in any language, my message will be an optimistic one, because I am certain that we can make the decades just ahead the greatest time ever to be alive in this world. That chance, that hope, requires the best that is in us, and I will give it my all. I will campaign as I would serve, going everywhere, speaking to everyone, keeping my word, facing the issues without flinching, and staying true to what I believe. I will take nothing and no one for granted. I will run with heart, and I will run to win.
That's Jeb Bush there. And my friends, he is looking more stronger than Hillary, mind you. My goodness, that I think Jeb has a good chance of if he makes it and gets the nomination and goes on, and I think just in that speech alone, that he has gained he has strengthened himself. He reminds me of Reagan. All right, but now let me wait for calls here. All right, now it's 272-0319 is the number. But while I'm waiting for calls, I want to get into our other stories here. Like, for example, okay, now there was a prison break, okay, in which these two guys escaped from a maximum security prison in New York, okay, close to the Canadian border. All right, and they did it with jackknives, and they did it in a way that was kind of based on the movie Shawshank Redemption, you know. And so now there's a serious manhunt for these two, and they're out, and now it's also said that they had help from the inside. One of the prison workers, okay, aided them, and my friends, that she is in a heap of trouble, mind you. All right, and now so now there's a serious manhunt, and so every state, you know, we don't even know if they're out, if they've crossed the border yet, but this state is on high alert, and on a serious manhunt for those two, and you know, one of them killed his wife or something, and they're serious, dangerous killers, and they're on the run. So, you know, be on the lookout. You know, these guys are dangerous. You know, the governor Cuomo was pissed. You know, how could this happen? But my other thing is now. Okay, my other thing is, now since we are in the age of identity, okay, this woman was pretended. Okay, we have a split picture here. Okay, it's the same woman. Okay, now she's actually white. Okay, this is what her actual color is, but for the longest time she pretended to be black. Okay, she's the president of a chapter of the NAACP, and she disowned her parents, her natural parents, and the only reason that this story came out was because her parents blew her cover. Okay. So and so now there's strong opposition to her because she lied so much, and she's also the cause of generating racism throughout the NAACP. So this is just ridiculous. Okay, but now before I get to the phone calls, though, I want to get to one of our top stories here, which was in the USA Today, and the headline reads: Dems block cybersecurity bill. Right? Oh yeah, the Democrats are not looking out for you. Okay, now this whole thing stems from okay, now in an attempt by Senate Republican leaders to advance cybersecurity, because we just got hacked. Okay, China just hacked every federal employee in America. Okay, and that included Social Security numbers and identities and phone numbers and everything. All right, but the Republican leaders in the Senate tried to advance cybersecurity legislation that failed on a vote Thursday, because the Democrats blocked it. It was a 56-40 vote. They needed 60 votes to pass it, and the Democrats in the Senate blocked it because they said that they didn't want it tagged along to a defense bill. You know, this is our national security we're talking about, and you know, this makes no sense. You know, why would the Democrats block this? They're not looking out for you. We just got hacked by China, nonetheless, and the Democrats block a cybersecurity bill, you know, that would protect us. You know, this has to do with our national security here. You know, but you know, I only have time for one phone call. All right. It's maybe not if in the least, but it is the 15th of June, and the number is 272-0319. All right. So if you are paying attention, okay, please do give me your input. All right. what do you think of the whole situation? Do you think Jeb Bush has a better chance, the former governor of Florida, than Hillary? Hillary would be a disaster. All right. Now, there is no way that with all the scandals on Hillary, there is no way that we're going to elect her as our president. All right. It should be a Republican. Republicans have the better policies. Matter of fact, let me get into the last words for the night, because it's very. As we go into the election season, and more candidates are gonna throw their hat in the ring. I am reminded of Reagan. All right, so I'm going to go to the last words for the night, and I want you to remember these words from one of the greatest presidents of our time, Ronald Reagan. All right, take a listen.
4 years ago, we said we would invigorate our economy by giving people greater freedom and incentives to take risks and letting them keep more of what they earned. We did what we promised, and a great industrial giant is reborn. Tonight, we can take pride in 25 straight months of economic growth, the strongest in 34 years, a 3-year inflation average of 3.9%, the lowest in 17 years, and 7.3 million new jobs in 2 years, with more of our citizens working than ever before.
There goes Bob.
Yeah, you see, now that was a great president. Okay, but that's our show for tonight. We thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. Follow me on Twitter at WilliamMetro2, and catch me on YouTube as well. And once again, thank you for watching Political Point. The right is right, and the left is always on the wrong side of history.